You're listening to the Life Coaching Secrets Podcast, episode number 96. Did you know that life coaches are needed now more than ever? I'm Frank Macri, founder of Thriving Coach Academy. I've trained over 1,000 coaches and helped them launch their own successful coaching businesses. If you want to make an incredible income and impact as a coach and have a lot of fun doing it, I'll show you exactly how to get it done. This is Life Coaching Secrets. What's up, coaches? I've got a special episode in store for you today. I'm going to be interviewing one of our mentor coaches from inside Thriving Coach Academy. Her name's Keia, and I've known Keia for so many years now. She's been in the coaching industry for nearly a decade, tons of experience coaching, and she's been a part of the Thriving Coach Academy team for a while now. And she has a really unique perspective because she's been able to support so many of our coaching students and help them level up their coaching skills. So she provides very thorough evaluations for every single one of our students. This is something that all of our students get in the academy. They get to work with a mentor coach from start to finish. So if you're listening and you haven't enrolled yet, once you enroll, you're going to be connected with a mentor coach, and they're going to be supporting you. So Keia is one of those coaches. And in this episode, I've interviewed her. I let her share her story of how she got into coaching and some of the biggest rookie mistakes that she notices a lot of coaches make when they're getting started. So she's going to share those mistakes with you here so that way you know what to look for when you are beginning your journey as a coach and how to avoid them. So without further ado, here is my interview with Keia. All right, so I'm joined by a very special guest today, one of our members, team members in the academy and mentor coaches, Keia del Rosario. Thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Thanks, Frank. Thanks for having me.
So I wanted to have Keia be on the podcast because she's not only been a good friend of mine for so many years, and she's also been a coach for so many years, but she has really amazing perspective on what it takes to be a powerful coach. And I wanted to showcase you so that way those that are getting into coaching can hear some of the things that you've picked up on as a mentor coach, as someone who has been able to support a lot of coaches in boosting up their coaching skills. So why don't we start out with a bit of your backstory of where you were before you got into coaching and how you ended up becoming a coach yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Frank. And yeah, I'm so grateful to be part of the team and work with Frank and all the amazing people at TCA. So currently doing mentor coaching. I also have my own coaching business where I support women in breaking free from yo-yo dieting and binge eating. And I'm so grateful because coaching is basically, it's just part of who I am. It's part of everything I do. And it's amazing to be able to empower people and get paid to do it. So to tell you more about where I started, before I started coaching, I was working a corporate job at a Fortune 100 company. And, I was making good money. So on the outside, I looked pretty successful, but I honestly felt like I was selling my soul. I remember days where I felt like I couldn't get out of the bed. I just didn't want to go to work and knew that, this couldn't be my life. Like I knew something needed to change for me. So I guess I just kind of started to reflect on what I actually was interested in, what I was passionate about. I was a secret personal development junkie. So I had like all these like books and YouTube videos and things that I collected, but I guess I was kind of shy about telling people I was so interested in that space. And I basically discovered coaching from YouTube. Like one of the coaches I followed talked about going to coaching school. It sounded something interesting to me. And I basically, this was 2015, I decided to trust my gut and take that leap of faith, go to coaching school, and I haven't looked back since. So yeah, it was so amazing to like learn so much about myself as an individual, just how to make decisions, how to work with other people. And honestly, Frank, like I also met you through the process. So there were so many good things that came out of it that I just don't know who I'd be without just the amazing training and that choice I made as a young adult at the time to to become a coach. So yeah, that's my story.
But I'm smiling because when you said 2015, it made me realize, wow, we go back for
Yeah,
a while.
right.
I can't believe that, we're almost at a decade in the industry and we've seen the industry change a lot, especially after, the pandemic and everything. And
Mhm.
what I appreciate about meeting you in the process is, we both got started in our early 20s in coaching. And,
Right.
we noticed that there weren't that many people in their early 20s that even considered coaching as a career path or as something they could do. So that's something I know that we bonded over. And what I appreciated meeting you, just knowing that, yes, it is possible to be successful as a coach, even when you're in your 20s. We're not in our 20s now, but for those that listen to this podcast who are in their 20s or even in their 30s and thinking, you have to have all this life experience before you could make an impact or before you can be taken seriously as a coach, that's not true. It's not about your age or your life experience. What I tell our coaches is it's just about you need to know how the mind works. And when you learn coaching, that's what you learn to master. You become an expert in how the mind works. Is there anything that you wanted to speak to that about your like how your age maybe was that a concern for you at all, like getting into coaching, being younger than most people in the coaching industry?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was. I remember being the youngest person in my coaching class at the time and being a little bit like, oh wow, like yeah, it's just as you said, Frank. Like I did have beliefs of like, who am I to coach people if I haven't gone through whatever like experience they've gone through. But yeah, it's definitely once you become an expert in the coaching process itself, you can coach anyone. It's really about again just being able to hold that space for them, ask them those questions where they find the insights for themselves. And so I even remember people in my class being like, you are so lucky that you discovered this in your early 20s. Like, how amazing. So I definitely would plus one to what Frank said. If you're someone who's in it younger or any age, like this is something that you will take all the skills for the rest of your life. So
Yeah, I remember when I finished going through coach training myself, I had this sense of guilt and I felt like I cheated life. I felt like because I learned coaching at such a young age that I was skipping the suffering.
the suffering.
Yeah, I thought I was skipping out on suffering that I was supposed to go through. And I realized I had a rule that you needed to struggle to be successful and you needed to suffer to be successful. And that was a huge awakening for me. And I think that a lot of people in our society and culture have that rule. We think that you need to struggle in order to, have some kind of achievement in your life. And you don't. The good news is you don't have to struggle or suffer to be successful. So I remember that being a huge insight for me as I went through coach training in my 20s. So, all right, let's talk about mentor coaching because a lot of people, when they're looking to become successful as a coach, they think about how can you really get the best support possible? What does it take? And mentor coaching is one of the components that we offer in the academy. Every single student gets a dedicated mentor coach that they're going to work with from start to finish, that they're going to have one-on-one sessions with. So, Kia, for those that might be looking to become a successful coach and they want to do it in the proper way, in your own words, how would you describe what a mentor coach is, what a mentor coach does, and why it's important to have one?
Yeah. Yeah. So for mentor coaching, in a mentor coaching session, I as the mentor coach bring a real life challenge to the session and I act as the client for the student. And then the student then coaches me, and then we debrief. I give them real tangible feedback on the coaching session. And so I absolutely believe this is really important for a proper coaching training because it really comes down to you don't know what you don't know. There are definitely books out there, e-learnings, like there's an abundance of information out there on the internet about coaching, but with a skill like this you really have to put it into practice. So by having a mentor coach, you have a safe space to practice, and then you get really clear, tangible feedback on what you're doing well as a coach, what's your style, what's standing out, and also where you can improve. So rather than like, again, going through this, like I know, Frank, we're talking about like this belief of I have to struggle or suffer in order to move forward or be successful. This is again about like, let's like get to the tangible feedback right away. That way you don't have to struggle or suffer when you actually have real paid clients and you're doing the coaching sessions with them. So I think it's vital to becoming an amazing coach.
It definitely is. And I love that you emphasize how it's really this space where you feel safe to try the skills, to try on the tools, because you learn them and then you want to go out in the world and use them. But at first coaches might not feel so confident about how it's going to flow. And with a mentor coach, you actually get to try them on, and you get the support of your mentor coach to help you when you might have a bump in the road as you're going through your sessions. So you've been working with so many of our coaches who have gone through the academy. You've been able to see so many of them progress from start to finish. What is it that you've enjoyed most about being a mentor coach?
Yeah, thank you. I love this question. I love being able to see the light bulbs go off for students. So what we'll do usually in a session is they'll coach me for about 30 minutes or so, and in the last 15 minutes we'll debrief, we'll go through feedback, and I'll ask the student like, what do you think of the session? How do you feel about how that went? And oftentimes they'll be like, oh, the first part of it, there was something that was missing. Like they just kind of sense something was off, but they're not exactly sure how to describe it or how to pinpoint it. So I really enjoy being able to connect the dots for the students and give them something really tangible, observable that they can work on so that they can put it into practice right away. And then also like I love seeing the growth between sessions. So we usually go about 3 weeks before the next mentor coaching session. So just even being able to like celebrate with my students about how they've grown through the process as individuals and then see their coaching skills grow as well. It's been super rewarding for me as a mentor coach.
I love that. And there's something really special about having someone to witness your growth, because I've noticed as well with a lot of our students, they will go through the program and just a couple months will go by and they might think, am I really progressing through coaching? Am I improving? And I tell them, are you kidding me?
Right, exactly.
Right? Like, we have the privilege of getting to hear them from the beginning and actually witness their growth and reflect it back to them, which is one of the coolest things to remind someone of like how they're actually improving over time.
Absolutely.
So you've heard a lot of our coaches grow. You've also, been in those vulnerable moments where coaches do need support. They're struggling to get certain parts of it together. So through your own experience, what have been the biggest challenges that you've noticed a lot of starting coaches run into?
For new coaches, I often hear some sort of variation of, I should be getting this by now, or I should be getting this already. And so I've noticed, especially for new coaches, they'll like, especially when we're doing like the debrief feedback part of our sessions, they'll start to beat themselves up. They'll start to put pressure on themselves for not getting things perfectly. And this pressure that they put themselves actually stops them from being present and focused, which is the exact thing they need in order to be more successful in their sessions. So I sometimes what I'll share with them is just bringing their awareness to the process of learning. So is it okay if I go, Frank, over like the 4 stages of learning? Would that be helpful?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So the first stage is unconscious incompetence, where it's basically you don't know what you don't know. So you're not aware that there's a gap, a skill you need to improve on. And so oftentimes when you're starting a new skill like coaching, you start here. You kind of you try it out a skill and you're not quite sure how to use it or how to apply it. Um, and then as you get feedback, as you get more information, you move to conscious incompetence. This is where you are aware of what you need to work on, but you still kind of suck at it. Like you're like, oh, okay, not quite. So I think a lot of times in the beginning of mentor coaching, this is where the feedback comes to play, where a student will have that light bulb go off of like, oh, now I realize this is what I need to work on. And then they move to conscious competence where they're aware of what they need to work on. They start doing it, like they start performing it well, but it still takes effort. And then finally, conscious incompetence, where they've put in the time to practice the skill more and more, where they can do it without thinking consciously about it. So I just notice a lot of new coaches will beat themselves up, like thinking that they should be further along in that learning process, and that is not true. Really, a great belief to take on is I'm exactly where I need to be right now, or I'm getting better and better every day. And coaching itself is a journey. So the sooner I've noticed my students take on this belief, the sooner they can start to enjoy the process. And oftentimes, the faster they learn because they're not putting so much pressure on themselves to be perfect. So,
I love
yeah,
that.
that's what I'll share.
Yeah, I love that. That's so big of knowing those stages of learning and not pressuring yourself to get it right the first time. And I want to emphasize the rule that Kia mentioned, which is this rule that you should be further along. This is so big, right? Right when you put that expectation on your learning, that's gonna actually prevent you from getting to that next level because you have this rule that you've been holding yourself back with. So it's so big. Okay, so let's go into tips. Now, when students enroll in the academy and they're getting started, what is it that you think new coaches need to know as they go through this program to really set them up for success?
Yeah, I think, and it's funny because I'm reflecting to my younger self when I went through coaching school. And I remember the teachers saying, trust the process, because I would, again, put pressure on myself to like get it perfect the first time. So I honestly think the biggest tip I would give to new students is, well, first of all, if you haven't signed up yet, sign up. If you're waiting for a sign, this is it. Come on and join the school. I know you're going to get so much out of the program. And really the biggest tip I have is just to show up. So that means make time in your schedule for learning, come to the webinars, schedule your peer and mentor coaching sessions, because just in that process of showing up, you're going to go through those stages of learning. You're going to learn what you need to know. You're going to get practice you're going to put into practice, and you'll progress exactly as you need to. So I guess to summarize, it's trust the process and just show up would be my tips for new students.
I love that. I remember too when we were always told trust the process, and it was driving me a little bit insane hearing
Yeah,
that.
you're like, oh,
Yes,
stop saying that.
but it really is true. Just when you can lean in and trust the process and also ask for support and show up, like you said, it's amazing what could open up for you. So, Kia, I wanted to end this episode firstly by thanking you for being such an amazing part of the team and for really literally being there since the beginning, even with me and my journey as a coach. And you've always been so supportive, and it's been fun to see each other grow and develop a friendship as well as a professional relationship with each other. But I wanted to end with some comments that our students have left about you, if it'd be okay to share those.
Oh, sure. Sounds
So
good.
So these are just some comments by some of the actual coaching students you've mentored. Someone, and this is good for everyone here too, because this is really the value of mentor coaching that you will experience. So one of our coaches said about you, Keia, I really appreciate working with Keia. She's such a fantastic mentor coach and an incredibly valuable part of my journey. It is so helpful and assuring to have the opportunity to work with a mentor coach. I get so much value out of this. And then we had another one of your mentees, one of our coaches, say, Keia is so wonderful to work with. She is so open and so insightful and helpful as a mentor. I find so much value in having the one-on-one experience and feedback from a professional coach. And I see my progress with each session, which is a testament that the process is working. Thank you. We had another coach say Keia is super professional, very helpful. And one of our coaches also say that at the end of every session I've had with Keia, she's been able to reinforce different coaching concepts and ways to approach sessions that I know will improve my skills as a coach. Keia really exemplifies the true essence of professionalism in every session, and I appreciate that she allows me to fully coach her as a client and provide insight in how I can continue to improve.
Oh,
So
my hands like on my heart. I'm actually tearing up a little. Thank you, Fred, for sharing that with me.
Well,
Amazing.
thank you, Keia, for being such an amazing part of our coach's journey, and helping to inspire them to go out into the world and coach. And you are literally shaping the next wave of coaches. So appreciate you being a part of the team and sharing your story with our listeners on the podcast.
Thank you, Frank. And yeah, I'm so grateful to be part of the team and for the opportunity to support people in this way. Again, if you're listening and you want to help people grow and learn, like this is definitely a place you can do that. So sign up for TCA.
Get yourself inside. At the very least,
sign up.
At the very least, book an admissions call with our team. We'll get to know you. We'll figure out what your goals are as a coach. And we'll invite you to join the academy if we feel that we can support you. All right, so that brings us to the end of this episode. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, would you like access to powerful coaching tools you can use on yourself and clients right away? For being a listener of the podcast, I'm giving you a VIP guest pass to get a sneak peek into my coach training program. Inside, you'll learn our coach's secret tool they use to transform their clients' lives. And you'll also get a training on how to launch a coaching business. Just head over to www.thrivingcoachacademy.com/VIP to get started. I'll see you on the inside.